Good evening. This is the February 7, 2024 meeting of the Planning Board. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, members of the Planning Board. The first item on the agenda is an extension of conditional final approval for Plymouth Estates subdivision in Smithtown. The applicant requests an extension of conditional final approval for the subdivision number 1172, map of Plymouth Estates. The subdivision number 1172, map of Plymouth Estates, received conditional final approval for a 5-lot subdivision from the Planning Board on August 12, 2020. Approval of the subdivision expired on January 24th, 2024. The applicant submitted a request for a 7th extension on January 11th, 2024. The applicant requires additional time in order to file the subdivision and performance bond paperwork with the town. The planning department has no objection to the request and recommends an extension period of 180 days. The planning department offers the following resolution for the board's consideration. Whereas the planning board has considered the request of Tasso Sheen to extend the conditional final approval for the subdivision known as number 1172, map of Plymouth Estates. Now therefore be it first resolved that the planning board hereby approves a retroactive 180-day extension of time to the conditional final approval for the subdivision known as number 1172, map of Plymouth Estates, to expire on July 22nd, 2024. And we have the affidavit of posting. I don't believe he's here tonight, but he's okay with the recommendation.
Okay, then we'll just proceed. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter? Okay, then, are there any questions from the board?
No.
Hearing none, in the matter of number 1172, map of Plymouth Estates, I move that we close the hearing.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, the hearing is closed. In the matter of extension of conditional final approval, number 1172, map of Plymouth Estates, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, the motion is adopted.
The next item is an extension of performance bond period for Vani Estates in Smithtown. Is there somebody here representing that case? Nope. Should we skip that one for now?
Is the affidavit in?
I don't have it, no.
Okay, all right, yep. Let's skip that for now.
All right, we'll come back to that one. The next item, number 3, is an amendment of a tree preservation and land clearing plan for Platt and White Platt subdivision. The applicant requests an amendment to the tree preservation and land clearing plan for the subdivision number 1173, map of Platt and White Platt. The subdivision number 1173, map of Platt and White Platt, received conditional final approval for a 2-lot subdivision on May 23, 2018. The applicant has submitted a request to amend the tree preservation and land clearing plan in order to reposition the location of the new dwelling. The house is proposed to be further back from New York State Route 111. The engineering department has no objection to the request. The Department of Environment, Waterways, and Planning Department have found the amended map acceptable. The Planning Department offers the following resolution for the board's consideration. Whereas the Planning Board has considered the request of Gnarled Hollow Enterprises to amend the tree preservation and land clearing plan for the subdivision number 1173, map of Platt and White Platt. Now therefore be it first resolved that the Planning Board hereby amends the tree preservation and land clearing plan for the subdivision number 1173, map of Platt and White Platt, pursuant to the revised map dated January 26th, 2024, prepared by Secafico Land Surveying, PC.
Mr. Tramarko?
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Excuse me. My name is Vincent Tramarko. I represent the applicant. I ask the board to follow the recommendation of the Planning Department. Thank you.
And the affidavit's good? Okay.
Yes, we have it. It's all good.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter? Are there any questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Just a question. This is essentially a swap. We're just doing the house somewhere else. We're not they're having cleared land, and now they're going to clear more land. It's all going to be the same proportions, correct? Okay, just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, then. In the matter of number 1173, map of plat and white plat, I move that we close the hearing.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The hearing is closed. In the matter of tree preservation and land clearing plan amendment, number 1173, map of plat and white plat, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. The motion is adopted.
The next item is a final subdivision for map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve in Fort Salonga. The applicant requests final subdivision approval to subdivide a 27.62 acre parcel into 18 lots with single-family dwellings, a cul-de-sac, recharge basin, and 8.44 acres of conservation areas. The final subdivision, number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve, received conditional preliminary approval on September 27th, 2023. The planning board adopted a secret negative declaration for the subdivision application on December 7th, 2022. The subdivision is comprised of 2 tax lots located in the R43 zoning district. The site is surrounded by R43 zoning and single-family dwellings. The site is approximately 1,110 feet of road frontage on Sunken Meadow Road, approximately 157 feet of road frontage on Fort Salonga Road, and 50 feet of road frontage on Yorktown Place. The topography of the site ranges from 20 feet to 110 feet above sea level. The property contains areas of environmentally sensitive land in the form of steep slopes and high groundwater. The subdivision does not propose development on areas containing high groundwater. The Board of Zoning Appeals granted a variance to alter environmentally sensitive land, slope in excess of 15% on December 13th, 2022. The applicant proposes to construct a cul-de-sac approximately 725 feet in length off Sunken Meadow Road that will provide access to lots 1 through 15. The length of the cul-de-sac exceeds the maximum permitted length of 500 feet pursuant to Section 24825G1 of the subdivision regulations. The planning department has no objection to the increase in length, considering the alternative is to connect the road to Yorktown Place, which would disturb more steep slopes and require removal of more vegetation. The proposed road also depicts less impervious surface than if the subdivision was not clustered. The radius of the right-of-way turnaround is 60 feet, and the outside curb radius is 50 feet. This complies with Section 24825G2 of the subdivision regulations. The stormwater runoff from the cul-de-sac will be directed into a proposed recharge basin, approximately 1.94 acres in size. Approximately 0.87 acres of the recharge basin area will remain undisturbed and preserved due to a prior transfer of development rights. The applicant proposes to dedicate the road and recharge basin to the town. The existing historic dwelling, outbuildings, and landscaping will remain on Lot 16 and keep its existing driveway access to Sunken Meadow Road. 2 of the lots are designated as affordable workforce housing pursuant to the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. The applicant has indicated lots 17 and 18 as affordable workforce housing and will have access to Fort Salonga Road via common driveway. New York State DOT has indicated a curb cut can be granted to the portion of the subject property that fronts Fort Salonga Road. They require a shared driveway, adequate turnaround area, and a highway work permit. Pursuant to Section 24831 of the subdivision regulations, this subdivision is required to be clustered because it will impact the following natural resources or phenomena. 1, slopes in excess of 15%. 2, shallow depth of groundwater. 3, woodlands having a medium trunk diameter of more than 12 inches and an area of more than 3 acres. 4, land adjacent to a state highway. And 5, historic resources listed in the historic sites inventory of the town of Smithtown. The applicant has clustered the subdivision by concentrating development to the western portion of the site using lot dimensions similar to the R21 zoning requirements, while preserving a substantial amount of land throughout the remainder of the site. The applicant is proposing 2 conservation areas totaling 8.44 acres and will offer dedication to the town. The applicant is also proposing a 50-foot wide conservation easement along the north property line of the subdivision to provide a buffer to residents to the north. It should be noted that Lot 16 is substantially larger than the other lots and depicts a lot area of approximately 5.7 acres. Covenants and restrictions should be filed on the subdivision prohibiting any future subdivision of Lot 16. Lot 16 should continue to follow R43 dimensional regulations. The final subdivision application was reviewed by the town departments of Highway, Traffic Safety, Engineering, and Environment and Waterways. The following comments are offered for the board's consideration. 1, the Highway Department recommends the retaining walls be made of concrete retaining wall block. 2, the proposed intersection off Sunken Meadow Road at the proposed road will need to be signed with a controlling stop. 3, new dead end signing will need to be added at the intersection and at the dead end. 4, new street name signs will need to be added at the new intersection. 5, additional street lighting will need to be added along the proposed road. 6, the Department of Environment and Waterways recommends covenants and restrictions be filed on the property to ensure preservation and prohibit further development of the property beyond the proposed subdivision. 7, the Conservation Board has reviewed the revised tree preservation and land clearing plan dated August 12, 2023, and has found it acceptable. 8, the Engineering Department recommends conditions related to stormwater management, grading, drainage, soils, and excavation. 9, it is recommended sidewalks be waived on the proposed cul-de-sac since it is a low-density residential dead-end street with low traffic volume. Chapter 24824 of the subdivision regulations states that each subdivision is required to show a park area of at least 2 acres per 100 buildings. However, the Court of Appeals has ruled that the town cannot require the reservation of park area unless the planning board determines on a case-by-case basis that a need for parkland exists with respect to the individual subdivision. Based on the community facilities study in the town's comprehensive plan, there is a need for parkland in the neighborhood in which this subdivision is situated. This subdivision's share of meeting the need is approximately 0.102 acres. In cases where the planning board determines that a suitable park cannot be located or is otherwise not practical, the subdivider is required to pay a cash equivalent prior to filing the map. Given the location and topography, environmentally sensitive land, and relatively small size of the subdivision, a dedication for park space would not be practical. Therefore, the payment of an equivalent park fee established at $85,000 is recommended as a condition of final plat approval. It is important to recognize that although the developer has offered to dedicate land to the town as open space, this does not necessarily mean the town's park and recreational land requirements have been met. Open space is created from the exercise of the planning board's cluster subdivision authority and is intended to be permanently preserved. The open space mainly consists of steep slopes, high groundwater, and existing conservation easements through prior TDFRs and would be unsuitable for park or recreational purposes. Therefore, the planning department recommends a park fee. Pursuant to Section 239N of New York State General Municipal Law, this application was referred to the Suffolk County Planning Commission because it is located within 500 feet of a state highway. The Suffolk County Planning Commission considered this application to be a matter for local determination. A decision of local determination should not be construed as either an approval or disapproval. Additional information. 1, letters assuring availability of utility service have been received from PSEG Long Island. The applicant is waiting for a response from the Suffolk County Water Authority. 2, the Kings Park School District has acknowledged this subdivision. 3, the amount of the inspection fee is $59,252. 4, the amount of the park fee is $85,000. 5, the amount of the performance bond is estimated at $740,650. 6, the amount of the cash deposit is $9,000. And 7, the amount of the performance bond to be posted is $731,650. The planning department offers the following resolutions for the board's consideration. The first one's the final plat variance, whereas the planning board has considered the request of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve, LLC, for the following variances pursuant to Section 322-30.4 of the Building Zone Ordinance of the Code of the Town of Smithtown for subdivision number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve. Now therefore be it first resolved that the planning board hereby grants variances from the Building Zone Ordinance of the Code of the Town of Smithtown for the subdivision number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserves as follows, and you have the modification of dimensional requirements. This table shall be shown on the final map to be filed in the office of the county clerk. No fees required for open space subdivisions. That's section 24832. Next one is for subdivision final approval. Whereas the planning board has considered the request of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve, LLC, for final approval to subdivide a 27.62 acre parcel into 18 lots with single-family dwellings, a cul-de-sac, recharge basin, and conservation areas. Now therefore be it first resolved that the planning board hereby approves the final subdivision, number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve, subject to the following conditions. A, posting of a performance bond in form and amount specified by separate resolution of the planning board and for a term of 2 years. B, posting of a general liability insurance policy to run concurrently with the term of the performance bond and in accordance with other provisions of Section 248 of the Code of the Town of Smithtown subdivision regulations. C, payment of an inspection fee and cash deposit as established by a separate resolution of the planning board. D, all necessary dedication papers shall be submitted by the applicant to the planning department in complete and accurate form as one package, including but not limited to the performance bond, liability insurance policy, title report, and all required fees. E, payment of a park fee of $85,000. F, final approval of the drainage and regrading plans to the satisfaction of the town engineer. G, a utility availability letter from the Suffolk County Water Authority shall be submitted to the planning department. H, the subdivision shall be clustered as depicted on the final subdivision map dated October 12th, 2023. I, the retaining wall shall be made of concrete retaining wall block. J, a 50-foot wide conservation easement shall be placed on the north property line as depicted on the final subdivision map dated October 12th, 2023. The area within the conservation easement shall remain natural and no structures shall be permitted within the conservation easement except fences. K, covenants and restrictions in a form acceptable to the Environmental Protection Director and the town attorney shall be filed upon this subdivision so as to preclude any further subdivision, yield, or transfer of density flow rights from any portion of the subject property. L, covenants and restrictions in a form acceptable to the Environmental Protection Director and the town attorney shall be filed upon proposed Lot 16 so as to limit the maximum wastewater generation rate of the parcel to 300 gallons per day, to limit the use of the parcel to one single-family residence, and to ensure the preservation in perpetuity of the historic dwelling, outbuildings, and landscaping. M, the applicant shall be directed to pursue all necessary steps to ensure that the historic dwelling, outbuildings, and landscaping on Lot 16 are listed in the state and national registers of historic places. N, all conservation areas as depicted on the final subdivision map dated October 12, 2023 shall be permanently preserved by dedication to the town of Smithtown. O, the gross floor area on lots 1 through 15, 17, and 18 shall not exceed 25% of the lot area. P, lot 16 shall follow R43 dimensional regulations. Q, the recharge basin, planting screen, tree species, and locations shall be determined by the planning director. R, the on-site soil management and importation of recycled materials for construction shall be conducted in strict conformance with the Town of Smithtown soil and recycled material management specifications. S, prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for Lot 18, the property owner shall file a deed covenant that includes an operation and maintenance plan for the stormwater management structures to the satisfaction of the town engineer. T, the subdivision shall comply with Section 699 of New York State General Municipal Law, Long Island Workforce Housing Act. Prior to the filing of the subdivision map in the office of the county clerk, Lot 17 and Lot 18 shall be designated as affordable workforce housing and shall be subject to the following requirements. 1, the lots shall be developed and conveyed in perpetuity in compliance with the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. 2, the deed for each lot shall include language that declares that it shall remain affordable in perpetuity in accordance with the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. 3, the deed for each lot shall be in a form subject to approval by the town attorney prior to any conveyance thereof. 4, a certified copy of the deed shall be provided to the town attorney upon filing of the same with the Suffolk County Clerk's office after any conveyance of the lot. 5, the town shall not consider release of the performance bond until after the dwellings have been completed and a certificate of occupancy has been issued for the dwellings. And 6, the applicant shall comply with the Town of Smithtown Affordable Workforce Housing Policy. U, prior to the commencement of construction activities at the subject parcel, including land clearing or other site preparation work, the applicant shall abide by the following. 1, all limits of clearing and any individual trees to be preserved within the clearing areas must be marked with snow fencing or orange mesh construction fencing. Said fencing shall be located no closer to the trunk of any tree to be preserved than the drip line of said tree. This area to be preserved shall be as indicated in the tree preservation and land clearing plan prepared by Andrew Stolzenberg, licensed professional engineer, and dated August 12th, 2023. Upon completion of the installation of fencing as required above, the applicant shall provide written notice to the Department of Environment and Waterways requesting inspection of the limits of clearing as marked in the field by the cited fencing. 3, the applicant shall not commence construction activities, including land clearing or other site preparation work, until the marked limits of clearing are approved in writing by the Environmental Protection Director. The snow fencing or orange mesh construction fencing used to delineate the limits of clearing shall be maintained in place by the applicant until the completion of all land clearing and grading activities at the subject parcel. 5, coverage under the New York Speedies General Permit for Stormwater Discharge for a construction activity GP-0-20-001 must be obtained. The Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan prepared by Barrett, Bonacci, and Van Weel, P.C., and approved on August 10th, 2023, shall be maintained on site for the duration of construction. And 6, a fee in accordance with Section 154(7) of the Town Code for removal of soil from the subject site must be paid to the engineering department. The required excavation estimate made by Barrett, Bonacci, and Van Weel, P.C., is 68,428 cubic yards, which totals to a fee of $119,078. A check shall be made payable to the town and delivered to the Town of Smithtown Engineering Department. Second, resolve that the chairman of the planning board is hereby authorized to sign the final plat, thereby approving said plat after the town has accepted a performance bond in satisfactory form and amount. Third, resolve that the conditional final approval of said final plat shall expire 180 days after the date of this resolution and within 62 days after the chairman of the planning board signs the final maps of this plat, unless said plat shall have been duly filed or recorded by the applicant in the office of the Suffolk County Clerk. And the last resolution, the authorization to sign the performance bond estimate. Whereas the town departments of engineering, traffic safety, highway, and planning have prepared a performance bond estimate to cover the cost of all required public improvements, now therefore be it first resolved that the chairman of the planning board is authorized to sign the performance bond estimate for number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve, in the amount of $740,650, and establish an inspection fee of $59,252 and a cash deposit of $9,000. Therefore, the amount of the performance bond to be posted with the town shall be $731,650.
Thank you, Mr. Collado. Mr. Tramarko?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Vincent Tramarko. I represent the applicant. We've submitted the affidavit of posting to Mr. Collado. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the planning department, Peter Hans, and departments worked together with my client over a couple of years to come up with a really good subdivision. It complements each other in the sense that we've gotten our yield, but yet the town has gotten approximately 9 acres of passive parkland, if you will. Also, we're paying a park fee besides of $85,000, which of course will help the town in their repair and replacement of various park facilities. So again, this is probably one of the largest subdivisions in recent history of the town. And again, we worked together, our engineer, Andrew, and one of the principals, Rich Ralph, is here tonight if you have any questions. But again, we'd like to thank the planning department and Matt and Peter, because they worked hard, and so did my clients, in order to achieve a balance of a good subdivision and a good application within the town. So we ask the board to follow the recommendation of the planning department and grant final subdivision approval. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter? Are there any questions from the board? Okay then, in the matter of final layout, number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve. I move that we close the hearing.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? The hearing is closed. In the matter of final plat variance, number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve, I move that we adopt the variances as listed in the table of modifications in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? The motion is adopted. In the matter of subdivision final approval, number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? The motion is adopted. And in the matter of authorization to sign performance bond estimate, number 1191, map of Owl Hill Estates and Preserve, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next item is a zone change petition recommendation to the town board. The planning board will conduct a public hearing on February 7th, 2024 to consider zone change petition 2023-04 to change the zone from office business to wholesale and service industry on Suffolk County Tax Map number 800-114-310.1. The petitioner is All Hands on Deck LI. 3, the site consists of one tax lot, 0.61 acres in size, is located on the northeast corner of Middle Country Road and Hillside Avenue in St. James. The property has 159.98 feet of road frontage on Middle Country Road and 170 feet of road frontage on Hillside Avenue. The site is flat with an elevation approximately 110 feet above sea level. The property contains an existing repair garage consisting of 1,623 square feet of first floor and a 294 square foot second floor with an exterior lift and 3 on-site parking stalls. The property has an easement of ingress and egress for the property to the east. That's County Tax Lot 800-114-3-9.1. The site is currently zoned OB, and the OB zoning district extends 200 feet north of Middle Country Road. The site is currently zoned office business. To the north is office business and R10. South is wholesale and service industry. East is office business, and west is also wholesale and service industry. The land use, the site is a repair garage. To the north is single-family dwellings. South is a car dealership. East is an office building, and west is a vehicle storage parking lot and repair garage. Zoning history, in 1932, it was zoned A business. In 1949, it was neighborhood business. In 1959, it was GI commercial. In 1964, it was wholesale and service industry. In 1987, it was changed from WSI, which is wholesale and service industry, to office business. And in 2023, we have the current zone change petition requesting office business to wholesale and service industry. The proposal is to expand the existing 1,623 square foot first floor and 294 square foot second floor repair garage by approximately 725 square feet for a total of 2,643 square feet. The existing repair garage is considered non-conforming as a repair garage is not permitted in the OB zoning district, and therefore the applicant is requesting a zone change back to WSI. Upon approval, the proposal is to expand parking on the north side of the property and construct a new 2-way curb cut on Hillside Avenue. The existing curb cut on Middle Country Road is to remain, as well as the easement of ingress and egress. There will also be additional site improvements such as new lighting, drainage, sanitary system, and landscaping. It should be noted that the site plan is conceptual and changes may be necessary with respect to building and parking layout, as well as regrading, landscaping, and buffering. These details require review by the Board of Site Plan Review and the Board of Zoning Appeals. Any approval of this zone change petition should not be deemed as an approval or endorsement of the conceptual site plan or any future special exception applications to the Board of Zoning Appeals. It should also be noted, for the purposes of site plan and special exception review, the site will need to be reviewed in conjunction with the adjacent site to the east. Past site plans and special exception applications have included both properties, and a cross-access easement exists between the two properties. The planning considerations. In 2019, the town of Smithtown began the process of updating the town's comprehensive plan. Although the update is in draft form and has not been adopted by the town board, it nevertheless is a product of the comprehensive analysis of the town's needs, constraints, and trends. The planning department has used prior draft updates to the comprehensive plan as a guide for reviewing past zone change petitions. In the section St. James Community Plan, the 2020 draft comprehensive plan update analyzes the Middle Country Road corridor. The draft plan recommends the properties along Middle Country Road, including the subject property, be rezoned to wholesale and service industry, with the intent to encourage vehicle-related business and limited outdoor storage that is aesthetically pleasing while prohibiting certain uses such as restaurants. The draft plan also states current office trends indicate a reduction in central office locations and an increase in work from home or co-work spaces, making an office business zone less desirable. Based on the information above, the change of zone from office business to wholesale and service industry will permit uses compatible with neighboring land uses found along Middle Country Road and is consistent with the 2020 draft comprehensive plan update. Pursuant to Section 239M of General Municipal Law, this petition was referred to the Suffolk County Planning Commission because the subject site is located within 500 feet of a state road. The Suffolk County Planning Commission considers this zone change petition to be a matter of local determination. A decision of local determination should not be construed as either an approval or disapproval. Includes with the report, you have a zoning map, site photos, and conceptual site plan. The Planning Department offers the following resolution for the board's consideration. Whereas the Planning Board has considered zone change petition 2023-04, all hands on deck, LI Incorporated, to change Suffolk County Tax Map number 800-114-3-10.1 from office business to wholesale and service industry, and has found that 1, the change of zone is consistent with the 2020 draft comprehensive plan update. 2, the change of zone permits uses compatible with neighboring land uses along Middle Country Road. Now therefore be it first resolved that the Planning Board hereby recommends the Town Board approve zone change petition number 2023-04, all hands on deck LI Incorporated, for a change of zone on Suffolk County Tax Map number 800-114-3-10.1 from office business to wholesale and service industry, subject to the following conditions. 1, approval of the zone change petition is not an approval or endorsement of the conceptual site plan or architecture submitted with the zone change petition. And 2, a restaurant shall not be permitted use on the site.
Okay, Mr. Gordino?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Anthony Gordino. I'm a partner with the law firm of Farrell, Fritz, and Hopog, and I represent the applicant, All Hands on Deck, or B Specialist, is the operation that is being proposed in this site in connection with the proposed change of zone. I had a presentation here, but Matt did a wonderful job going through it. I don't really have a whole lot more to say, to add. But I am going to ask Jackie Peranto in a minute, who's the engineer, to come up and just maybe walk you through the site plan and just where some of these. I'm sorry. So just a couple things that I just wanted to point out. You know, we have a situation here where we have an auto repair garage. I think it's still called, maybe the sign still says Bruno's Garage, I'm not sure. It might have been changed, but it has been Bruno's Garage for a long time. It's over near where 347 meets Middle Country Road. That facility operates today as a non-conforming use because it's not permitted in the OB district. As Matt had mentioned, the site was zoned originally, well, not originally, but had been zoned, I think, since '64 as WSI, and essentially my client's just trying to put it back to WSI. I think what really important, and Matt did touch on it, but, as in connection with any change of zone, we have to demonstrate consistency with a comprehensive plan. Its report mentioned the 2020 draft comprehensive plan expressly recommends that the sites along Middle Country Road, including this site, actually be zoned to WSI to encourage automobile-related uses, which is exactly what this is. So this change of zone is, if it's squarely within the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. The change of zone is being requested because my client's looking to make a small change, expansion to the back of the building. And we can't obviously expand the non-conforming use, so we need to change the zone to something that allows for this use. I've lived here my whole life in Smithtown, and I remember that building. Obviously, I don't go back to the 30s, but I did look at some old aerials. I could find that building from 1954, kind of in the middle of nowhere. The building was there. But it looks like this was an old gas station or garage, probably from, I guess, since the time of cars, the 20s or 30s. So I think it's probably close to 100 years old. The facility provides 2 bays today, which may have been sufficient 100 years ago or even 70 years ago when there weren't as many cars, but now, there are a lot more cars on the road, people own more cars, and this strip is kind of like car row, right? So this is where people would come to bring their cars. So my client is looking to expand the number of service bays, so he wants to add 4 service bays to the back, so that the facility is adequate by today's standards. He will be adding a new curb cut on Hillside. We'll be making some modifications, as Matt mentioned, lighting, drainage, landscaping. The landscaping is important because that buffers the site to the north, which is a single-family residence. So that is important. The expansion will require a couple of variances from the zoning board. It will require a special exception from the zoning board. They are modest, at least the one from parking is very modest. The other one will be a front yard setback variance from Hillside because we have 2 front yards because we're on a corner. And the parking provided is 14 spaces and the code requires 16. So again, I know that's not for this board, that's for the zoning board, but I want to, in full disclosure, to make sure that the board understands that this is not as of right after we come here and go to the town board. We still will be seeking relief from the zoning board. So I think at this time, it's probably best for me to call Jackie Paranto from Key Engineering to maybe walk the board through the site plan. If you wouldn't mind, Jackie. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairwoman, members of the board. My name's Jacqueline Paranto, Key Civil Engineering, 664 Blue Point Road, Holtsville, New York. Sure. Peranteau. So as mentioned, the project will consist of a small building addition to the rear. It's about a 14-foot addition to the rear, which will allow the bays to be inside. As Matt had mentioned, currently there's an exterior lift on the property, so that's going to go away. It's going inside the building now, so that's going to be a betterment to the community to keep that indoors. In addition, currently, the site provides for that ingress only on Middle Country Road, along with cross-access to our parcel to the east. The vehicles can currently circulate east in front of the building as well as behind the building, but they're forced to exit out through the adjacent office building, and that's a right out only, so everybody has to leave the site through the adjacent site. So we're proposing an additional curb, or a new curb cut on Hillside Avenue, which would provide a two-way connection between the parcel to the east and our parcel, which will allow vehicles to come in and off of Hillside, which is a safer movement than Middle Country Road. So we feel that that will improve the site circulation from the current condition. In addition to parking, based on the size of the building, we do require 16 parking stalls, and we're showing 14 on our plan. But in addition to that, we're showing 10 stalls for storing vehicles that are being repaired. Currently, there's about, I think the prior approved plan showed 5 or 6 stalls. I think the reality is there's probably like 3 or 4, but there's a lot of, in some historic aerials, you can see a lot of cars kind of stacked in there. So the additional 10 cars that we're providing is to store those vehicles that are being serviced, that are waiting for parts, that aren't yet, in the garage for lifts. In addition, in order to add this additional parking, we need to shift our buffer to the north. So currently, there's a large buffer to the north adjacent to the residential property, and we're going to be reducing that to 25 feet. The code requires a 10-foot buffer adjacent to residential, so we're providing a larger than mandated buffer. Our intent is to maintain as much deciduous trees as we can within that area, and then supplement with evergreens, as well as a stockade fence along the common property line. In addition, the parking setback requirement to the WSI zone is 25 feet, and so we'll be holding that 25 feet to where the car storage area is. So that's also in compliance. And as mentioned, we will be before the Board of Zoning Appeals. Special use permit for the repair garage is one of the items needed. Parking, again, a minimal 2-stall variance, but I think that addition of the storage spaces balances that quite a bit. Side yard setback, however, we're not encroaching any further than the existing wall of the building. We're just expanding it to the back, so we're not getting any closer to the road with our side yard setback. So it's sort of maintaining and for the addition. And then there's an existing front yard setback in Middle Country, which is also just a maintain variance. So happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions?
Looking at the picture, you're going to push that blacktop back to the 25-foot buffer?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have the architect here. I don't know if the board, from the architect, or if you,
I think we're good. Anybody have any questions for the architect? No? We're good.
great, thank you very much.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter? Are there any questions from the board at this time on this matter? Okay, then, in the matter of zone change petition 2023-04, All Hands on Deck, LI Incorporated, I move that we close the hearing.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None? The hearing is closed. And in the matter of recommendation for zone change petition number 2023-04, All Hands on Deck, LI Incorporated, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? None? The motion is adopted. Thank you. Good night. I just have,
You want to go back to that?
I just have one more. Is there anyone who just walked in possibly that might be representing Vanny Estates in Smithtown? Okay, then. We had that in the beginning, but we held off hoping that you were going to come. You have the affidavit of posting? Okay, you want to hand it over, please?
Thank you.
And we can proceed then, okay?
Yep, it's good. Let me, I'll read the recommendation. Nah, I'm good. The applicant requests an extension of the performance bond period for the subdivision number 1190, map of Vani Estates. The subdivision number 1190, map of Vani Estates received conditional final approval for a two-lot subdivision from the Planning Board on May 12th, 2021. Performance bond estimate in the amount of $28,188.50 was approved by the Planning Board. The performance bond period expired on September 3rd, 2023. The applicant submitted a request for an extension on January 11th, 2024. The applicant has indicated they need additional time in order to complete the public improvements. The Planning, Highway, Engineering, and Traffic Safety Departments have no objection to the request. The Planning Department recommends an extension period of 2 years. The Planning Department offers the following resolution for the board's consideration. Whereas the Planning Board has considered the request of Desiree Federico to extend the performance bond period for the subdivision number 1190 map of Vonnie Estates. Now therefore be it first resolved that the Planning Board hereby approves a 2-year extension of time for the performance bond period for subdivision number 1190 map of Vonnie Estates to expire on September 3rd, 2025. The affidavit of posting is okay.
Okay. Do you have any concerns, Mr.? Okay. All right. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard in this matter? Okay, then, we will proceed. Are there any questions from the board? In the matter of number 1190, map of Vonnie Estates, I move that we close the hearing.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The hearing is closed. In the matter of extension of performance bond period, number 1190, map of Vonnie Estates, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The motion is adopted. Okay.
Thank you.
Minutes?
I guess we can proceed then to, I move that we adopt the minutes of the January 10th, 2024 meeting of the Planning Board.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The motion is adopted. And now I move to adjourn this meeting.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.